Hey guys, it's Danny, and look what I have in front of me, a whole bunch of miniature Phalaenopsis, which just fill my heart with joy. You guys might know, I'm not the hugest fan of the big Phalaenopsis, but that's just because they're big and they don't fit my shelves. But when it comes to mini Phalaenopsis, which are pretty much the same thing, but more on a miniature scale, I'm just so in love. I love tiny little flowers, tiny plants. I don't know why, maybe because I'm kind of miniature myself, so we have something in common. But not only do I love them, they fit my shelves and they grow beautifully in my climate. Also, they make for absolutely fantastic videos because the beginner videos that I do, which feature Phalaenopsis, are super popular. So I always need to have Phalaenopsis at hand. And these guys make for great video subjects without taking up too much space. Long story short, I love them. I'm on the road to having kind of 1 million of them. I just can't get enough. And since I had such a busy week this week and the next one will be busy as well, I thought today I just want to go out. I want to drive and just clear my mind a little bit, and why not visit the flower shop? And good thing I did, because I found all of these guys. Lovely, no ID, affordable miniature Phalaenopsis that most of you, I'm sure, can find at flower shops and garden centers as well. So let's just take a little look-see at each one of them and just have a bit of a relaxing time. With that said, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, and why not subscribe for more orchid and plant content. Right, so I'm just gonna unpack them and show you each one individually because some of these I kind of know what they are. Well, at least one of them. I'm just realizing my sweater has some holes. If my fiance sees this video, he's gonna flip. These holes are made by Kylie, my parrot. Sometimes when we play, she gets a little bit pinchy. She doesn't bite or pinch us way too much, but the clothes, oh boy. It's her way of releasing energy, I feel like. And my fiance says, be careful, don't wear your Kylie clothes when you film. Sure. So hopefully he skips on this video, but usually he doesn't skip videos. He's a good fiance, he watches me. Right, so first off, I kind of know what this is because I had it before. It's one of the first miniature Phalaenopsis that I've ever had, and I do suspect this is the J-Hose Pink Girl. This is a Schilleriana hybrid. Now, on the market, there are quite a few that look like this, and I will give you close-ups of the flowers. Anyway, if you look at the foliage, you will see that it is dark, that's one, and also it has a slight mottling. Well, let me just show you the Schilleriana, which I have. There she is. Oh, she has a flower spike. Very exciting. So this is the species. It's one of this orchid's parents. This is a complex hybrid actually, but a few traits barely remained, such as the darker foliage and a slight bit of mottling. So on the market, you will find other miniature Phalaenopsis with very similar flowers, but with lighter green foliage. I discovered that those don't tend to have a fragrance. This one, when the sun shines and it's warm and it's bright, it kind of has a sweet flowery fragrance. At least the older hybrids that I used to have. And this is another trait from the Schilleriana, which is much more fragrant. The fragrance is identical to this one, a little bit more powerful, obviously on the parent, but this one as well. I do remember my old one used to smell really lovely when it was warm, when it was bright. I didn't necessarily have to put it in the sun, but if filtered sun would hit the flowers or the orchid would have been placed in bright shade, it would have started to release fragrance. Now, my original Schilleriana was lost. I think it was lost during the move when I had the spider mites, when I treated them. I really don't remember. I lost it a long time ago and I never found the dark-leaved version up until today. So when I saw it, I definitely wanted to have it again because it really reminds me of my first J-Hose Pink Girl, which is just a guess. I don't have a tag. None of these have a tag, so there are no IDs. And I almost bit a flower. Right now it doesn't smell. The sun is going down, but I'm gonna check it out tomorrow. Hopefully she's gonna start to smell because there is a faint but really distinct fragrance with this one that I personally really like. And it brings me back to my beginnings with orchids. So there we go. We have her again. I actually have a video with this one in bloom. I think my older J-Hose Pink Girl and another, let's say J-Hose Pink Girl with lighter colored foliage. That one definitely has the Schilleriana in its parentage as well, but it depends how the genes were split. These guys are complex hybrids. You cannot really know what's gonna end up sprouting from the same parents. Each seedling is a little bit different. So that one is just a slight variation that sadly lacks the fragrance in my experience. Anyway, let's move on. Happy to have found this once again. Next up, here is the mini phals that I've had quite a few times up until now. Recently even. Oh, what is this? Ah, just a speck of dust. It kind of looked like a thrip. The stuff of nightmares. Anyway, so most recently I had it just 3 years ago or so, but the particular hybrid or individual that I had started to produce very distorted blooms. I don't exactly know why, and shortly after the entire orchid kind of faded away. In the past, I've had this before, many years ago. I have the image of the video in my head. If I find it, wow, I'm gonna share it with you. Oh my goodness, this is like 8.5 years ago. Bottom line, all of the orchids that I had like this kind of perished. Bad luck, I guess. And it's a shame because I really like this one. I like anything that is very contrasty. If you put me a color on white, I will love it. I really like this one. I couldn't find an ID ever for it. If you know the name, even a commercial name, most of these have commercial names, not registered names. Let me know in a comment. You might notice, oh, this one actually has more roots in here than medium. Like the sphagnum moss ends like in the middle, and then there's only roots. That's okay. You might notice that some of these came with the decorative pot, some didn't. I don't know why, but I do like this decorative pot. It's a clay one, but it's not heavy at all. And when it comes to these very tiny pots, I could always use more decorative pots. Pretty orchid, hopefully. Oh, I remember now. I remember what happened. The buds were so distorted, they didn't even want to open. And again, I have like the picture of the video in my head or the thumbnail or something. I need to find it. This orchid means something on my channel apparently because I remember each video in which I featured it somehow. But yeah, maybe third time's a charm? Who knows? I hope so because she really is very pretty. Alrighty, next up, I do suspect and I do believe that what we have here is the Sogo Vivien, which is a very popular miniature Phalaenopsis, even though, do you remember the Sogo Vivien having so much white? I kind of have to Google it. I'll let you know. And this one again, I kind of had it in the past. I just don't remember what happened to it. There is a very slight chance I still have it and I didn't put a proper tag on it. But this one, it appears to me that has just a little bit more white. That white background, again, that I love, against these veins seems to be a little bit more intense than in the case of Sogo Vivien. I don't know. Even if it's a double, I don't care. I kind of really like them. And you might say, but Danny, I thought you didn't like pink orchids or purple orchids. Well, something has happened in the past year or so that kind of changed my mind regarding the very usual and plain pink orchids. My grow lights. I kid you not. The pink looks so beautiful under the Barinas. It takes away this cooler tone that I personally don't really enjoy and gives it a warm tone to it because I have a combination of pink and yellow grow lights. And that emphasizes pink and purples like you wouldn't believe. They also emphasize oranges and reds, don't get me wrong, those are even better. But I'm starting to seriously dig pink and purple orchids now because they just look different under the Barinas. I'm gonna show you. So, just so you know, what you see right now here, this is more of a, let's say, realistic, where are you going? Realistic look to the orchid. Very nice, very beautiful. And the B-roll that looks a little bit more neon-y, that's my grow light effect. There's no filter or color, let's say, enhancement on my camera or post-production or anything. I don't do that. The only thing that I sometimes do is a little sharpening because I hate blurry images. Other than that, I don't play around with color, but you will notice under the grow lights on my shelves, everything just looks neon. It's how it looks like in reality as well, better though. Now, let me show you something really cool, because I actually have I think I have a version of this with a big lip. Now that I look at them, they don't really look alike, do they? All right, so this is a Phalaenopsis that was sent to me from one of you lovely people. It has no ID, but I always thought it was a Sogo Vivien, but the big lip variety, because as you can see, and if you compare them, there is a very striking difference. This one has a lip Peloric. It's practically much bigger and more open than a normal standard Phalaenopsis lip. Well, I always thought this one is kind of like this one, but with the Peloria. Now that I look at the two orchids, oh no, they don't look alike. Okay, so I don't know if this is the Sogo Vivien or this one is or it's not, and which is which. In the shop, I thought, hey, this one looks identical to this one. No, they don't. But yeah. But just so you know, big lip Phalaenopsis, whether they're miniatures or standards, they do derive from normal, let's say hybrids. The difference is the Peloria. And you guys know, if you know orchids, that Peloria can refer to the petals, but also to the lip. This is a more recent trait that has been obtained. Anyway, more on Peloria in the description if you're interested. Yeah, what a bummer. I thought these were identical. Obviously, they're not. Okay, next up, the only non-pinky purpley mini Phalaenopsis that I could find. This one is a beautiful yellow. Oh, it actually has pink. It has some pink dots on the flowers, but it's mainly yellow. No worries, the grow lights actually emphasize the yellow as well and makes it either a little bit, I'm looking at the Happy Holiday, she looks beautiful. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So the Barinas either make the yellow be more neon-y yellow, either transform it a little bit into more of an orange yellow. So I'm very curious to see how this one looks under the grow lights. Anyway, I do still prefer the yellow and orange orchids, but they're just not as common as the pink and purple ones. Now I like the pink and purple ones as well. This one actually struck me as maybe being fragrant. Actually didn't smell it because of the mask. No, I don't detect anything. Maybe tomorrow, but I don't know. I don't think so. There's always a possibility when you see an orchid that doesn't really look like the others, there is a possibility of a fragrance there as well. Anyway, even if it's not fragrant, I really like how it looks like. It's a bit of a change. I don't think I've seen a miniature Phalaenopsis looking exactly like this one. This is what I was looking at. Look at her. That yellow looks orange on camera. In reality, it actually looks like a very neon, darker yellow, and on camera it looks orange. She's beautiful nonetheless. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I cannot stop looking at it. Next, two orchids that look very similar, but they're not identical. So I just purchased both of them. So I'm gonna give you close-ups just so you see how similar they look, but again, they're not identical. Is there any fragrance? No. This one actually looks like one that I already have, but not really. It's a little bit different, so. Again, as I was saying, even if I have doubles, I really don't care. These guys are tiny and I really, really like them. They're such a nice pop of color on my shelves. Right, so again, I got these two because I just didn't have them, and even if they're purple, and this one is very purple, I like them. By the way, I'll show you my existing miniature Phalaenopsis as well, so you see how they are. They're not fully in bloom or anything just yet because they started to spike late in my environment. Phalaenopsis tend to spike pretty late in the season since I have very, very long summers. Usually lower temperatures arrive at the end of November or something of the sort, so until then, there's no spike. It's vegetative growth. But because my mini phals are older, they're also producing bigger flower spikes, slightly bigger. Usually when you purchase any orchid, you will purchase it at a younger age. There's always a chance it's gonna grow slightly bigger or even much bigger than when you purchase it. These guys, they will never become super big like the standard size Phalaenopsis, but they will be a little bit bigger. And the flower spikes and even the number of flowers can increase with time. So I'll show you my miniature Phalaenopsis. You'll see they're a little bigger and you'll see the so-called problem that I have with them. Alright, so here's where I keep my mini phals together with a few standard ones. They're not all miniatures, but here's the quote-unquote problem. Can we see that the flower spikes are already stretching towards the light? Now, naturally they do tend to lean and curve, but I have a funny suspicion that until they start to do that, they will just hit the light, and even if the tubes are not super hot, right there next to the tube is pretty warm, and that can damage buds, which are very sensitive. So what I'm trying to do is kind of, let's say, artificially shape them, which is something you can do with Phalaenopsis, and I do have videos on it. I'll try to put one down below. You can absolutely shape Phalaenopsis flower spikes, but usually with miniature phals, you know, I've never had to shape them in any way because they're very thin. They kind of arch on their own. Now though, the dilemma is real. Do I keep them here and artificially arch them, or just give up that idea and move them here? Because this shelf is taller, and that in the back, that one is my orchid. It's not one that I purchased today, and you can see it naturally arched, it looks nice, and it fits in this cabinet. But I also like the idea of protecting these orchids from thrips, because you might have noticed some of these, they have damage. Look at that one there, that's damage. That one is barely hanging on. The crown, and I hope not, but I think the stem as well is affected. So yeah, there are some issues which I am addressing by keeping the orchids there. And if I move them here, they're gonna be slightly more exposed. But I guess it's okay. I don't know. I have to make a decision. That's the only thing that is problematic with them. Other than that, they kind of just fit everywhere. But yeah, eventually they will grow slightly larger than this, and even the flower spikes can be larger. Anyway, it's not a real problem, it's just me blabbing. Anyway though, I do have one more orchid that I purchased and I didn't show you. It's a standard Phalaenopsis. Ooh, are you intrigued? Well, let's go see it. Isn't she beautiful? I'm just joking. Hold on, it's a big girl. Yeah, okay, hold on. Ta-da. Look at her. Why can't you be a miniature, huh? Look how beautiful she is. I kind of had to purchase it, even though it's big. And I don't actually have too many big Phalaenopsis. I have a few left. Most of them, they're gone. I donated them. They're just so big. They take up too much space. So I decided to only keep stuff that is really special. And I do believe this one is really special. I'll give you a close-up of the front and the back of the flowers because they look spectacular. By the way, if you see specks on the leaves and crown, it's glitter. It was sitting under some Christmas decorations at the flower shop. Don't worry, it's not pest or anything, but yeah. She is beautiful, I will have to say. It looks a little bit like the, oh, what's your face? Hyacinth Big Bang, something of the sort. It's not that. It kind of just looks like that, but it's not. Color-wise though, it has beautiful coloration. I have never seen it in shops, but hey, every year there are new hybrids on the market. And if you live in Europe, you might actually see it because it's coming from the Netherlands, like most orchids in flower shops. Alrighty, so before I let you go, if you're new to my channel and somehow you made it all the way to the end, be sure to check the description. I'll put some mini Phalaenopsis links, some care tutorials. I always have care tutorials and other products that I use typically on a regular basis in my plant room. It's always down below in the description. The music I use, all of those things, always down below in the description. And yeah, if you were wondering about miniature Phalaenopsis, they're just as easy to care for as the standard ones. They take the very, very same conditions and care, minus the space. They just don't take as much space. Isn't that wonderful? And I personally love them. Alrighty, so with that said, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a great day. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye!